In 1889, Gustav Eiffel, the Wizard of Iron, built a 300-meter iron structure that became a symbol of the honor and engineering genius of France. But 35 years later, in the mind of one man, this great masterpiece was merely 9,000 tons of scrap metal. This is the story of the confrontation between two geniuses, one the maker of a dream, and the other the seller of a lie. A man who lived under 45 names and spoke 5 languages. The question is, how can a national monument in the cultural capital of the world be sold to a simple merchant? And the more important question, how could the very same deed be repeated 6 months later? From the beginning of human presence on Earth, there have always been those who sought to find their way against the common laws and trends of society, taking shortcuts instead of straight paths. One of them is a man named Victor Lustig, who was probably born in 1890 in Austria-Hungary. But the truth is that his real identity remains a mystery even now. A con man who was fluent in 5 languages and used at least 45 aliases throughout his life, frequently changing his appearance and identity to cover his tracks. His childhood was spent in poverty and misery. Years passed in a dark stone house in one of the poorest areas of the city. At the age of 12, Victor concluded that he was happier alone. He quit school, ran away, and resorted to begging and pickpocketing to survive on the cold streets of Europe. The turning point of his criminal life occurred in 1903 on the streets of Budapest. The night he watched a wealthy couple on the balcony of a luxurious hotel who left a lavish feast untouched and went to their bedroom. Victor could not believe it. If some people could live in such prosperity while he was forced to eat scraps from the garbage, then he would never feel guilty about deceiving those who were more fortunate. After that, Victor moved from simple pickpocketing to more advanced thefts, and by the age of 18, he had perfected all card game tricks. He became a master of sleight of hand, which enabled him to cheat at games like poker or swindle people on the streets. Although he endured several periods of imprisonment in European jails, this did not dampen his spirit. He spent his time improving his skills by studying books, knowing that knowledge and awareness would help him operate more professionally in his cons. Like many of his European contemporaries, Lustig had heard legends about America, the land of promises and opportunities, awaiting a man who was clever and resourceful. He set sail for the United States. Victor realized that ships were a paradise for con men. The first-class decks were full of wealthy targets he could easily befriend and find a way to deceive. For Lustig, hunting on the Atlantic Ocean was as easy as fishing. He spent an entire week on every ship, swindling wealthy passengers, and after docking in port, he repeated the same process on another ship with new passengers. After the war ended, the man who set foot in New York was no longer the former homeless boy. He had now created a new persona for himself, with a refined appearance and a manner of speech and behavior resembling aristocrats, and was completely ready to carry out bigger cons. During this time, Victor exploited the greed and ambition of Americans. For a period, he created counterfeit government seals and fake whiskey labels for alcohol smugglers. But Victor's genius did not stop. Soon, a better idea came to mind: a counterfeit money printing machine. He had luxurious boxes with brass trim and complex display panels built by a skilled carpenter and named it the Magic Money Machine. Victor told his victims that it was enough to put one real $100 bill and a specific blank paper inside the machine, turn a crank, and after 6 hours of waiting, the machine would deliver a precise and complete copy of that banknote. Using this precise and clever plan, Victor sold several copies of his magic box for tens of thousands of dollars. His lie about the 6-hour wait gave him enough time to escape the area before his victims realized they had bought a worthless wooden box. After several flawless scams in America, Victor traveled to Paris. It was here, upon reading a short piece of news, that the spark for one of the greatest scams in history was ignited. Victor was sitting in a café in Paris one day, flipping through the newspapers, until his eyes caught an article detailing the grim condition of the Eiffel Tower. The article stated that the Eiffel Tower required huge sums for restoration and was on the verge of collapsing. He did not simply pass by this article. His experience in con artistry led him to analyze the article from a different angle and use it for the greatest scam operation in history. A strange and diabolical idea came to his mind, and he decided to sell the Eiffel Tower. First, Victor used his extensive connections with the criminal underworld to obtain some forged documents of the French Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs. He then went to a luxury hotel in Paris and reserved a room, posing as a government representative. From there, he sent letters to 6 of the biggest scrap metal merchants in Paris, inviting them to the hotel to discuss a highly sensitive and top-secret matter. He used the fabricated documents and fake identification cards, which certified that Victor was an official representative of the French government, to gain their trust. With masterful French eloquence, he spoke to them about the French government's plans for the Eiffel Tower's renovation, claiming that the government could not afford the restoration costs and had therefore decided to dismantle the Eiffel Tower. Victor told the merchants that the sales process was currently taking place in secret because the news would cause a massive public outcry. The merchants were mesmerized by his words, dreaming of securing the biggest deal of their lives, and were delighted that Victor had chosen them, believing that their good reputation in the world of commerce had led Lustig to invite them for negotiations on selling the Eiffel Tower. He drove the merchants in a rented limousine to visit the Eiffel Tower and monitored their reactions to ensnare the one who was most eager to buy the Eiffel Tower. All of them presented him with sealed proposals for the project, but Victor had already found his target, André Poisson. Because it was clear that André was absolutely desperate to finalize that big deal which would elevate his company to the next level. Therefore, in a private negotiation, Victor started talking to André about the hardships and limitations of a government job. His intention was clear. He was seeking a bribe. And this very move made André believe that the entire deal was definitely real. André had no issue writing a very generous check for the man he presumed was just a corrupt mid-level government official. But as soon as the scrap merchant left, Victor immediately cashed the check and left Paris for Austria on the first train. A few days later, when Poisson submitted his request to dismantle the Eiffel Tower, he was met with ridicule by the tower officials, and only then realized he had been conned. He was so embarrassed that he did not report the matter to the police to preserve his reputation in the city. Lustig was also delighted when he saw that there was no news of the incident in the newspapers. Sometime later, he returned to Paris and repeated the entire process of selling the Eiffel Tower. The second victim investigated the offer a little more and realized that the whole story was a huge fraud. The police were informed this time, but Lustig was miles away again, this time heading towards America. But eventually he was arrested by the police after being accused of fraud in a deal. His fiancée, who thought Victor had cheated on her, gave him away. Victor Lustig was imprisoned and passed away from pneumonia in 1947 AD.